Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island. A change of tact brings the money pit tantalizingly close. This week on The Curse of Oak Island, the team changed direction with the borehole drilling and instantly found a shaft. The guys believe they may have hit shaft 6, which would put them merely feet away from the money pit and the treasure. There was quite a bit going on in different places on this week's episode, but the most interesting action happened in the money pit area, as Rick Lagina ordered the guys to go in search of his white whale, or as everyone else calls it, Shaft 6. Geologist Terry Matheson and historian Charles Barkhouse have been overseeing the borehole drilling in the money pit area and have been concentrating on the C1 cluster. In recent weeks, they have uncovered various pieces of wood dating as far back as the 15th century, along with a couple of metal pieces with golden flakes. However, the time has come to move on. In approximately 1 month, 4 giant 10-foot steel casing cases will arrive on the island, and the team needs to have 4 locations to put them in the ground where they can guarantee results. Rick told the guys, "We need to move from exploration to confirmation." With that in mind, surveyor Steve Guptill recommended they move the borehole drill about 17 to 18 feet to the southwest of the C1 hole to see if they could find shaft 6. And Rick wholeheartedly agreed, stating that he has always thought shaft 6 was key to finding the treasure. This shaft was constructed by searchers in 1861 and was built to enter the money pit chamber from underneath, thereby avoiding the flood tunnels. The project failed when the shaft filled up with seawater, and they suspect the money pit chamber collapsed, scattering the treasure. However, if our guys hit that shaft and can figure out its orientation, then they will be just 18 feet away from the money pit. Simple. And Terry and Charles got a result almost straight away. At 79 feet, they hit what was obviously stacked timbers, and again at 79 feet, and again at 89 feet. They hit at least 20 feet of stacked timber and didn't need to dig any deeper to be sure that they'd hit a shaft. At 89 feet, the guys found an old square nail embedded with the wood, and Marty was wasting no time. Straight away, he took it to Doug Crowell and Laird Niven at the archaeology trailer to have it analyzed in the XRF machine. Clear evidence it could be shaft 6. The team wanted this shaft to be shaft 6, so the hope was to find something to date it to around 1861. They were in luck. The XRF found manganese in that nail, a chemical element that would not be present in a nail older than 1840. Furthermore, Laird said the nail looked to be from the early to mid-1860s, which puts it in the right time frame. This is starting to look more and more like shaft 6. Hopefully, next week, the guys can learn its orientation, and then they can finally put an X on the ground and dig up the money pit. A couple of other finds on Oak Island this week. Elsewhere in last night's episode, Gary Drayton and Michael John uncovered a leather strap that blacksmith expert Carmen Legg said was used to hold a trunk or wooden chest together. Legg also said it was a heavy-duty strap, so it would likely be used in the transport of heavy goods such as china or treasure. And in the swamp, Billy Gerhardt and his digger pulled 3 large pieces of wood out of the marshy depths, which were clearly human-made. 2 of the pieces looked like they may be survey stakes, but there wasn't time this week to do a proper analysis. Perhaps the guys will know more next week. The salty winds of Nova Scotia carried a weighty sense of history and mystery, as the dense forests whispered tales of a long-buried secret. For over 2 centuries, adventurers, scholars, and treasure hunters alike had all converged on Oak Island, drawn by the lure of its elusive treasure. But none had come as close to unraveling its ancient mystery as the determined Lagina brothers. Now, with a renewed sense of purpose and a bold change of tact, they found themselves closer than ever to the infamous money pit, a discovery that had tantalized explorers for generations. Rick and Marty Lagina stood at the edge of the deepening excavation site, their eyes fixed on the layers of earth and history being peeled back before them. For years, they had battled everything from unpredictable weather to subterranean traps, from doubters to unforeseen complications, all in pursuit of the island's fabled treasure. Yet, as their latest season progressed, a realization had begun to dawn on the brothers. Perhaps it wasn't brute force or sheer persistence that would lead them to the treasure, but rather a more calculated and strategic approach. The change of tact had come after endless theories had been tested, refined, and sometimes tossed aside. Theories of Templar connections, pirate hordes, and even ancient Spanish expeditions had been mulled over endlessly in the war room, each tantalizing and full of potential. Yet none had produced the ultimate breakthrough. It wasn't until Dr. Ian Spooner, the geoscientist whose expertise had become invaluable to the team, suggested a different method of attack, that the tides began to shift. Perhaps, Dr. Spooner had said in one of their late-night strategy sessions, "It's not about what we dig, but asterisk where asterisk we dig and asterisk how asterisk we interpret the clues." His words had triggered a seismic shift in the team's approach. Gone were the days of simply sinking boreholes into the earth and hoping to hit something. The Lagina brothers, seasoned and no strangers to adaptation, embraced a new, methodical precision. This season, it was all about science. Using cutting-edge technology, ground-penetrating radar, and geophysical surveys, they would create a map so accurate it could reveal the money pit's precise location. The initial results had been nothing short of stunning. Underground anomalies showed patterns that aligned perfectly with historical records of the money pit's whereabouts. For the first time in years, there was something more than hope. They had hard data. And with that data came excitement. The treasure hunters, previously battling frustration and uncertainty, now buzzed with energy. They were on the verge of uncovering something monumental. Craig Tester, the engineering mastermind behind many of the island's operations, had always been the pragmatic voice of the group. His sharp mind for numbers and systems had saved them countless times from veering off track. Yet even Craig found himself swept up in the momentum. As the team gathered around the latest scan results in the war room, Craig pointed to an anomaly deep beneath the earth. "Right there," he said, his voice steady but full of excitement. "That's a tunnel, and it leads directly to where we believe the money pit lies." Marty, ever the skeptic but brimming with newfound optimism, nodded thoughtfully. "It makes sense. All the pieces are starting to fit together." The change in strategy hadn't just been about technology, it had also been about mindset. Rick, the elder Lagina, had always been the heart of the operation, the dreamer who believed in the impossible. His faith in the island's legend was unshakable, and it had been the driving force behind their quest. But now, more than ever, Rick found himself reflecting on the lessons of patience. Oak Island had always been a puzzle, and perhaps, he mused, they had been trying to force the pieces together for too long. "This island doesn't give up its secrets easily," Rick had said quietly, staring out at the churning waves. "But maybe it's finally ready to show us something." The digging resumed with a renewed sense of purpose. Instead of haphazardly sinking shafts, the team focused on a targeted dig based on their latest data. The excavators carved carefully through the soil, peeling back layers of history that had long been concealed. Each bucket of dirt seemed to bring them closer, not just physically, but emotionally, to the money pit. As the earth trembled beneath the weight of the machinery, the team's anticipation grew palpable. Gary Drayton, the metal-detecting expert, whose infectious enthusiasm had become a staple of their adventures, was already scanning the surrounding area, eyes sharp for any sign of treasure. He had a nose for finding things in the most unlikely places, and he wasn't about to let anything slip past him now. "Bingo, baby!" Gary exclaimed, his detectors squealing with excitement. "We've got something here, lads."